Alright, hello everybody, and well, by this point you probably know who I am and what I'm doing, so let's just go right on in. I try to defeat the Archmage and finish this game once and for all. You emerge from the alley into the edge of the main square. I guess let's just go right into it. A few clouds scud across the sky. You stride out into the middle of the public square where Mampang's inhabitants go about their business. In the center is a huge statue of a faceless man holding a crown aloft. The Archmage. The statue seems unimaginably old, and yet the Archmage depicted here is definitely holding the crown of kings. Has he been planning this theft for such a long time then? Or is this a prophecy, a celebration of a day destined to come? Many people here are simply passing through, but several are browsing the market on the west side. You also spot several guards to the north clustered around a road that leads upwards. I feel like there's more information to be gained here by this statue, so let's see what I can do. Can I do a sus? I like sus. Just like my favorite spell. I don't think you can buy this for you pursuit. Of trepidation about the alley to the east. There are guards patrolling frequently even here. You'll have to be careful to blend in. But your guard's uniform should help. You can head in several directions from here. Oh geez. Let's go check out the market. I've got money for once. Maybe I can actually spend it. The market is busy with traders and stalls, a city in miniature. The market is not so large as those you encountered in Kare, but it still bustles with life. Even in Mampang, people need to go about their day. Let's see the stalls. Most of the stalls are mundane, roughly made household goods and some trinkets. Despite the number of shoppers, there are in fact very few goods. But as you wander the stands, you do spot a weapons dealer flaunting his wares, and a bent-backed peddler with unusual items spread on a cloth. I got weapons to spare, so let's check this out. Peddler smiles as you approach, and he gestures across a motley collection of objects laid out on a blanket. There are chipped pottery, dull knives, and empty picture frames. The man is not old, but a hard life has aged his looks. Junk, refuge, and memorabilia, he shouts, all for the discerning customer. Where are you from? The shores of Lake Ilkala, originally, but that was long ago. I took to wandering at a young age, and finished up here. He shrugs. Not what I hoped for, really. Do you buy as well? I have gems for sale. Gems? He shakes his head, laughing. No, no point in me buying gems. What happened if I put them out on my rug here, do you think? Would I make my money back? I don't think so. Who might take them, you ask? Try Hummingbird, the weapons dealer. He's nuts. How'd you come across these things? He points to a dried flower. That I found in the back pocket of a sleeping werewolf. This glue I won from a man in a contest of riddles. And this mirror I found dangling from a tree in an ancient swamp. You are quite the adventurer, you observed. In my youth I was many things. An excellent dancer, for instance. I fathered 47 children by that particular skill. He scratches his nose. So, going to buy anything? He asks. Scrutinizing his assortment of junk, you see a few items that would be useful to you. You pick up the gold-backed mirror and admire yourself in it. The peddler smiles and hands over the mirror. It may still smell of swamp, he warns. It's 30 gold pieces. It's too expensive. You place it on the rug. It may look small, the peddler says as he holds up the giant tooth, but I assure you it simply comes from a somewhat below average giant. Yours for 24 gold pieces. You shake your head. You put it back. Careful not to spill any, the peddler says as you lift the vial of glue. It's 15 gold pieces. Price is also more than you can afford. You hand it back to the merchant. Dang, can I afford anything? You lift the vial of potion carefully. Fresh, the peddler says, or fresh enough anyway. Yours for 18 gold. You smile weakly. Why so much, you inquire. He shrugs. You seen any berries around here? You put it back down on the mat. A fine antique, he says as you carefully lift the brass pendulum from under his tray. Used by the wizards of the expanse to power their golems. Only 30 gold pieces. It's too much for your purse. You place it down again. You decide to take your leave. The peddler wishes you safe travels with a wink. Yeah, geez. That was nothing. Couldn't afford a dang thing. You approach the weapons stall. The trader is extraordinarily thin. He might disappear if you turn sideways. Welcome, friend, he says. The army has procured most of my goods, but I have a few items left to sell for my original stock. You are not from Mampang? There are safer trade routes, yes I know, the peddler declares, but as a bold young man I heard that the Archmage was offering a fortune for weapons. The trader waves his hand vaguely. Outfitting a new army or something, I'm not so sure. Of course, once I got here, well, he shrugged. What happened? He glances at passing guard and lowers his voice. That snake Nylock would only pay me half, left me stuck on the wrong side of the wall. But what could I do? If I tried to leave, some birdman would have no doubt swooped down, and that would have been the end of it. At least I'm in a state to appreciate my poverty. But what can I do for you? Nylock? He makes a rude noise. The Archmage is official merchant. She handles all the trade for Mampang. Not us, he gestures to the crowds, but the fortress, the guard encampment around the tower. I suppose she is now chiefly interested in outfitting the army. An army? Oh, indeed, though I couldn't tell you who they're supposed to be fighting. Everyone outside the walls is now dead, or so they say. Now, are you going to buy something, or are we to simply chatter like a Cloudman's grandmother? Do you buy gemstones, you ask? I was told you might. I might. May I see? Perhaps a trade in kind? You open your pack a little for him to see the gemstones piled up in your bag. His eyes open wide. Very nice, he says. Not much market for trinkets in Mampang, of course. How much are they worth to you? How about this? He lifts a cutlass from the mat. It really is my finest blade. Strong, supple, perfection. Where did you get it? It washed up in the fountains of the merchant's yard, he replies. To my very great surprise. The fountains are fed by rivers. I suppose something must have sunk somewhere once upon a time, or else someone dropped it there by accident. You take the blade and hand over the gems. The sword is truly magnificent. You have never held anything like it. The merchant nods with evident pleasure. What else do you have? I can see you're a seasoned one, so I won't waste your time when the lumps of a common soldier get stuck with. I have this broadsword, which I can't let go for, say, 15 gold pieces. Of course, at that price, you're practically robbing me, but then so has everyone else in this place. Your prices are too expensive. He shakes his head. This is the best you'll find in this fortress. I'm nearly destitute thanks to Nylock. I can't go any lower. Give me a better deal. Friend, this morning a beastman was so upset about the price he threatened me with the very sword I was trying to sell him. I can see you have a lot to learn about haggling in Mampang. You have seen enough. You nod to the trader. Farewell. His face beams. Farewell then. Do come back. Okay, well, let's see. What did I make out with? Oh, wow. The cutlass is +6. Dang, that thing is really good. Okay, so I guess that was worth it after all. Let's check out the tents. There are a few large tents set up, and the stone buildings too. There's a hawker loudly proclaiming that mysteries and wonder await in his tent. In one corner, a long line of creatures queues outside a stone building. Let's try the fortune teller. You join with a long line of creatures outside the low stone building of the fortune teller. They are waiting with surprising patience. The creature in front of you is a hobgoblin with long blonde hair and 2 protruding hooked teeth. Greetings! She turns to you with a different look, then turns away. What is inside this building? You don't know? Why are you waiting here if you don't know? I saw the line. So you just joined? Well, and she shrugs. I suppose when I first joined the line it was for the same reason, but it seems so long ago now. How long have you been waiting? This time? A few hours, maybe. What do you mean this time? She shrugs. Well, this isn't my first visit. No one visits Wide only once. She pauses to scratch her chin. If you don't mind, I'd like to get back to waiting. You wait. A thin creature emerges from the building with a curious half-smile on his face. The next creature, a dwarf, enters. You continue waiting. Nothing happens. You continue to wait, and the dwarf emerges. She too has a curious half-smile on her face. A black elf goes inside next. This seems awfully suspicious. You keep waiting. But hey, I'm always one to run headlong into sketchy situations. Black elf emerges, looking furious about something. A wood golem enters the building. Creatures in the line stir a little, but no one leaves the queue. Keep waiting. Wood golem emerges. Goblin goes inside. Oh geez, this is gonna take forever. Whoops. You slip out of the line again, which closes up behind you immediately, and you walk towards the door of the building. A hobgoblin stops you. What do you think you're doing? I want to see if it's worth waiting for. Oh, it's worth it, the hobgoblin replies. This is my 13th time. I heard the teller's name is Wide, the hobgoblin shrugs. That's right, so what? You go back to the line to rejoin. To your surprise, the creature shuffles back to let you slide into your previous place. The hobgoblin you spoke to before even spares you a faint smile. Which is the line, sir, a little. Hobgoblin's next. You keep waiting. You wait a little longer. Is this even really worth it? Come on, stir a little. Keep waiting. This better be worth it after this. So, a little longer. I wish I could at least see how many people are in line in front of me. Alright, face the orc is next. Oh, jeez. I wish I had like a Game Boy or something. That would be swell. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. The excitement and adventure of sorcery. Whoa, this game's so amazing. No, in all seriousness, this is pretty amazing. Like, it's hilarious that the game's doing this to me. Yeah, that's basically what I am seriously forlorn worried about that. I mean, I guess it is nighttime, so I'm worried about waiting without sleep and it burning my stamina. I wonder if this is just an infinite loop and that really that it's not actually I'm not actually getting any closer. I guess we'll wait a little bit longer and see what happens. Let's stir a little. Keep waiting. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if it's just looping forever. Something definitely seems fishy about this. Maybe I should have just forced myself into the building. That's a large dwarf. Yeah, we'll wait a couple more people, I guess. And if by then I haven't gotten to the front. Large dwarf, you wait a little longer. Black elf. Yeah, I can't wait here all night. Wood golem. Goblin. Alright, we'll see if... We'll wait till after the goblin. Alright, yeah, this is ridiculous. You step out of the line once more. The creatures who have joined behind you hurry forward to fill the space, and as they do so, you see that they are the thin creature, the dwarf, and the black elf whom you saw coming out of the building. They have all rejoined the line directly behind you. You turn to the thin creature. Didn't you just go in? The creature nods. Yes. So why are you lining up again? The creature looks surprised. Haven't you been inside yourself? No. He smiles. You'll understand once you've been inside. White explains it better than I could. How many times have you been inside? This was my 15th visit, the creature replies. Every time, the future becomes a little clearer. I see real potential now. I could become almost anything. He shivers, smiling. I'm almost giddy with excitement. I'll have to wait, of course. What did the teller tell you? You ask, but the thin creature shakes his head. It's too personal to share, he answers. Besides, without knowing the answers to the previous questions, you wouldn't understand, I think. But was it worth waiting for? He nods. Oh yes, I mean, once I ask my next question, then I think it'll all be worth it. Please, says the creature, I need to contemplate my next question. You know what? Let's wait and see if that actually prompted me getting closer. I don't know. I'm feeling suspicious about this, but... No. Yeah, you know what? It's not even worth it. There's something definitely cursed about this building, and you hurry away from it. Yeah, I mean, even if it was... I don't know. I don't know, I almost feel like I should try to help them out somehow by stopping whatever the hell's going on, but I'm not going to wait all night for it. I'm only so heroic, I guess. You walk by the hawker who is plying her trade to the crowd. Examine the wondrous stone of secrets, she cries. Marvel as it speaks, advises, and prophesizes. You approach the hawker who points right at you. Now here is a discerning patron of the weird and wonderful. Will he enter? Will he experience the mysteries that even our best magical knowledge cannot explain? What is it? She puffs herself up. The Stone of Secrets is an incredibly rare artifact, discovered deep within a lost cave many moons ago. It is the only stone in the world which can speak. It is not powered by magic, but a strange alien force unique in the old world. The greatest magicians of our age have examined it and walked away confounded. Where are you from, you ask? I am the proud daughter of the 8th slum, she replies. But they say my family were once great travelers and traders, crossing the whole of the old world. Can you imagine such a journey? Indeed, I can, she nods. Of course. I could tell from the moment I saw you. You are the type to accept adventures such as this one. She taps the sum behind her meaningfully. How much? You may enter for the astonishing small sum of 2 gold pieces. What a bargain! What a steal! Only 2, yes, 2 gold pieces for an entertaining, enlightening, life-changing experience. What the hell? I got gold to burn. You pay the fee, and the hawker beams, her gaze already slipping past you. Here is a brave soul who has chosen to embrace mystery and wonder. Who will follow him? Inside the tent is dim and cramped. A large stack of boxes sits to one side, a cloth draped over them. Other curiosities, no doubt, that the hawker has shelved in favor for more profitable stone. The stone of secrets sits on a table in the center of the tent. It is unremarkable, a dirty rock that you could easily carry with one hand, and yet, as you approach, the stone begins to wobble back and forth on its stand. Then a voice booms through the tent. Einalander! The voice is familiar, but quite impossible. It is the booming tone of Shadrach, the hermit from the Bachlands. Shadrach? Yes, it is I. Good to see you again. He laughs again. After a fashion, at least. What happened? I bound a piece of my spirit to this rock. A desperate move. Why? The Archmage's assassins found my cave. I was staked outside on a cross. My body is still there, wasting away. I was able to project a fragment of myself into the stone, another into a tree. I will avenge you. I thank you, but you must forget about the troubles of an old man. Focus on your mission. Without the crown, my suffering will pale in comparison to that of the old world. And how did you get to Mampang? A stroke of luck, though I cannot tell you if it was good or bad. Not many traveled near my cave, so when the woman outside did, I was overjoyed. I immediately spoke to her. Learning her trade of sorts, I convinced her that I was an ancient artifact. I bid her take me to Mampang. Perhaps I sold my fiction too well. She scooped me up, and it took a lengthy detour to villages on the way. I was forced to give advice and spin dreary prophecies. Can I aid you? He sighs. No, it is best you put me out of your mind. Your own task is all that matters. The rock rotates ever so slightly on its base. But how can I aid you? How goes your journey? I see the serpents did not eat you. How do I reach the Archmage? You must enter the Sorcerer's Spike, but its doors have never opened. They were made by the necromancer Throbin, locked in 3 ways and then sealed in a 4th. The last seal was a bind that required he took his life, but the only power that can defeat the crown lies behind those doors. Oh well shit, is it gonna be another password like Kare? Didn't they say well that last time? What secrets does Mampang hold, you ask? The greatest secrets are the vaults of Mampang, buried somewhere beneath the city. They hold the treasure of the fortress, but they are heavily guarded. What do you know of the Archmage's vaults? The Shone shakes its head, as if it had a head to shake. Nothing, it replies, but the crown will not be in any vault. It is too precious for that. The rock rattles and falls still for a time. I am sorry, Analander. I lack the strength to continue speaking. It whispers finally. My body has already failed, and my spirit cannot stay anchored to this rock forever. Keep your wits about you, and know that I am still proud. The rock stills as Shadrach's voice fades. Well, that sucks. I should have asked better questions. Outside the tent, the honker claps you over the shoulder. Well, friend, she says, did the stone unlock the mysteries of the universe for you? Did it dazzle your senses, delight your spirit? You're exploiting that creature. Of course not, the hawker chuckles. How could I do that? It is a rock. It needs only visitors, but the mission requires donations, you see. There are a variety of expenses. The hawker's words flow like oil, slippery yet empty. You leave mid-sentence. You walk away without another word. You go back to the market. Let's see. Can I do anything here? Piece of cloth. Yeah, not really anything there. Alright, let's move on, I suppose. Let's check out the archway. You march through the arch into a well-appointed empty courtyard. From a small booth by the entranceway, a guard nods to you. Soldier? You step out into the central courtyard that fills this enclosure. The place is blessedly quiet, with several routes leading out of it. A dome looks up at the sky. A fountain plays in the center of the courtyard. The water from the fountain plays merrily over several stone statues set into the center of the bowl, arching satyrs, weeping maidens, aged men, headbutting orcs. It must tell some legend, but what the legend might be has clearly been lost to time in the wearing water. A few brightly lit man, I'm really messing up this read. A few brightly feathered birds flap past overhead. This little square is almost comfortable. You cup a handful of the water, sparkling water, and raise it to your lips. A moment later, you spit it out, gasping for breath. The water's quite foul. Look around the courtyard, but there isn't much to see beyond the fountains and the benches that surround it. The doors are a mixture of shops and storage rooms. You eat a quantity of your cheese and bread, feeling much better for it. Eating a meal in such a quiet place has reinvigorated you. You watch more birdmen pass overhead. You can almost pretend you are watching normal birds back in Analand. Door leads out to the main square of the inner city, but there are several other doors leading off from the courtyard. One is a signpost, Nylock. Uh, well, I guess let's just check everything out one by one. Let's see, guard's room. I should blend in there. You approach the guard rooms. The guard turns to you with narrowed, unfriendly eyes. What? Can I ask you a question? She frowns. Why? You seem quite intelligent. She shakes her head. I'm an idiot and I know it. With that, she waves your head. You head back to the courtyard. Well, I guess that didn't work out too well. Yeah, let's sleep here. You find a quiet corner of the courtyard and curl up like a rat. The sound of the fountain is deeply relaxing and you feel yourself quite ready to sleep before you've even settled your pack. Your snoring is interrupted by a sudden boot on your gut. You open your eyes to see a group of guards standing over you, weapons drawn. Who are you? One demands. I'm a traveler. Traveling where? The guard demands. Away from here. Oh, there's no getting away from Mampang. The outer world doesn't exist. It's just a mirage. Everyone knows that. The second guard pipes up. A spy, you think? His clothes don't fit right. The first shakes his head. If so, he's just about the worst spy I've ever seen. I was just resting, you declare boldly, but your words fall on deaf ears. We'll let the gaolers sort this one out, the first one remarks with a sigh. It's too hot down here for a decent interrogation. So grumbling about the heat, they tie you up and drag you away. Oh, well, that's not good. Alright, well, I guess I haven't had anything go terribly wrong in a long time. Bound and gagged, you are dragged by your ankles by two guards who mutter about the trouble caused. They gossip to passing companions about you. Tally of your exploits will soon spread through Mampang. This will make it more difficult to blend in from now on, should you escape. You try to cast a spell, but with your arms tied, you cannot reach for the starlight you require. Should they untie you at any point, then you will have a chance, but not before. Hopelessly, you are dragged into the office of the commander of the guard. Oh, that's no good. You are inside the commander's office, but it is empty but for a couple of duty sergeants standing by the far door. Take him to the dungeons, one remarks. The commander can see him in the morning if he cares to. You are dragged through a narrow corridor, your head bumping against the frame, into a round room that overlooks a line of dank cells. A hobgoblin dozes in the only chair. One of your captors kicks her awake. Volcom, we've got a prisoner for you. Volcom must be the chief jailer. She has 5 key rings pierced through her ear, and her hands are set with spikes that must be seared somehow into the bone. She uses one to pick at her nostril. She stretches, clearly still half asleep. Has he been to Nagamanch, or the commander? You struggle to your feet, only for the guard to kick your legs out from underneath you once more. The commander sent him to you, he remarks. Volcom makes no move to leave her chair, but unclips her hands over a large key to the guard. Lucky me, second on the right. The guards grumble, but still drag you into the cell. Leaving you bound, they strip you of your possessions, storing them in a chest near Volcom. Your guard's uniform is stripped from you. Aw dang, that thing was coming in real handy. You are now out of disguise once more. They leave without a glance back, and Volcom resumes her nap. You are lying on the cold stone floor of a cell in the dungeons of Mampang. You have been in cells before, of course, but these are different. They are not underground, but rather they are built high up in the air, carved from the rocky slopes of the mountain itself. Metal bars block one wall. Opposite of them is nothing but a long drop. Chill wind draws at you, pulling threads of straw over the edge. There isn't much else to the cell. It is not meant to hold prisoners for very long. Most likely, they are quickly executed. You struggle vainly against your bond, but they hold fast. You shuffle to the edge of the cell and peer out over the long drop down. Below stretches the strangest area of the citadel you have yet seen, a walled garden of sorts, clustered stupas and ziggurats linked by stone walkways and crackling with flashes of starlight. Almost directly below you is a large crystal dome, inside which shadows and shapes seem to move. You stare down at the dome, and for a moment you seem to see reflected in its glass the image of yourself stretched out on a mattress of straw, rolling this way and that. The vision clouds over once more. You try to stand, which is difficult with feet bound and hands tied behind your back. You manage to sit up, and then you get your feet underneath you. As you try to rise, you totter, then tumble headfirst once more. With no hands to catch yourself, you bash your forehead on the rough stone floor, sliding dangerously close to the open face of the cell. You crawl over to the bars which look out into the hallways. They are thick iron, a crude door fitted in the center. You could fit an arm through the gap if your hands weren't bound. You sit up and lean against the bars. The metal is pleasantly cool, but of course it does not give or bend. You call out for Volcom, but your words are muffled by the gag. You hear her snort, but nothing else. There seems to be nothing for it but to sleep. You crawl and scrabble over to the straw and throw yourself down onto it, but you cannot get comfortable. Something is sticking you in the back. Moving this way and that, you eventually dislodge it from the hay, a glass bottle. It clatters across the stone as it rolls towards the edge. You hurl yourself across the floor, catching the bottle at the very edge of the cell before it can drop away out of sight. Without going over the edge yourself, you take a real moment to recover your breath. The bottle is a wine from some ancient cellar, its label curled and faded, but the cork has rotted away and the contents have long since evaporated. You grasp the bottle between your shaking fingers, lift it up, and then strike it hard against the flagstone floor. Your eyes light up as it shatters into a score of palm-sized pieces of jagged glass. You turn around and squat down, working the piece of glass up between your palms. Then begins the painstaking work of sawing against the rope. You can hardly hold on to the makeshift knife in such an awkward position, but after many minutes of effort, you weaken the ropes. With a mighty pull, you break the weakened ropes. Then you yank the filthy gag out of your mouth. You are now free, or almost. You need to get the door open. Let's see. I mean, I could just do a dot, I suppose. Let's see. Zip. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if I just do a dot to open the door, then I'm still gonna have to deal with the jailers. Well, let's try a tell. I've got the skull cap, right? Let's just see what that does. You fumble with your spell, but it does not. Oh, right. I don't have any of my items. Right. Yeah. So I guess I'm just gonna have to try a dot because I don't have any magic items with me because they stripped me of my possessions. So let's just hit up a good old doppity dop, doppity dop dop. You wind the stairs into order around you and point at the door. You hear a faint click and it swings open. Outside, Vulcan slumbers on. Give me my stuff. You creep down the hallway until you're near the sleeping Vulcan. You look around quickly, locating the chest where your possessions have been stored, but it is locked. Its keys are sitting in Vulcan's lap. You gently lift the ring of keys from her lap, but too late do you realize they are attached to her belt and tugging startles her awake. A swift blow to the side of the head puts her back to sleep again. You exhale with relief. A few ragged prisoners look up as you pass. Their eyes are free of hope. You quickly purloin the keys to the cells from Vulcan and slip them into your pocket. You unlock the cells of the few prisoners that share the dungeon with you. They all look half-starved. Most flee immediately with barely a glance back. One man stops to shake your hand before disappearing. He has the look of a hardened killer about his miserable eyes. You unlock the chest containing your pack. Sitting at the bottom of the chest is a small pouch of gold, which you scoop up. There's nothing of interest in the room. Yeah, why would I go back to my cell? That just seems silly. You want to waste no more time here, but follow the prisoners up the step. Although that said, I'm probably about to get murdered. You ascend the steps cautiously, but meet no resistance. The prisoners have left the far door hanging wide open. You have escaped the dungeon, but that may soon be discovered, and the fortress's denizens will be wary of you now. If you are captured again, you might not receive such indifferent treatment. I mean, part of me wonders if I shouldn't have just, like, tried to float down. But oh well. This is my life now. Let's just do it. You creep up from the cells to the commander's office. It is empty. The prisoners must have come through here. The armaments on the walls are gone. The far wall hangs a portrait of the lady. You look over the portrait, but make nothing of it particularly. On the back is written Celestine. You search over the commander's desk, but most of the papers are requisition orders for military equipment and not very interesting, although there do seem to be a lot of them. Then you find a sheet detailing purchases of lupine armor countersigned by one Vic Sinchenel. Seems the Citadel has bought a score of them, with an order for hundreds more. Opening the wardrobes, you make the most fortunate discovery. A full captain's uniform. It would most likely fit. There's not a moment to lose. You gather up the captain's uniform and pull it on. Hey, so I got a better disguise now. You now pass the secretary. Wait, whoa, hold on. Mampang hides the vault. Yeah, I got that. Portrait of Celestine on his wall. What's the last one? Describe a fearsome Throbin doors. Right. Okay. Leave. There are sounds of shouting coming from the square. You stride out, enjoying your newfound rank. You emerge from the commander's doorway. You are met by a terrible sight. The courtyard is filling with clashing metal and cries from the guards and prisoners, fighting in the middle of the yard. The buildings opposite are burning, thick smoke coiling upwards from their roof. You stand back and watch the fight. It is spilling out in all directions, even up the wide stone... train time. Hi, train. How's it going? Yeah, I still need to figure out something to do when the train passes, but haven't really thought of anything. Alright, well, that was fun. Alright. You stand back, is filling out guarded prisoner locked in swordplay approach the imposing double doors. Suddenly one touches the handle and erupts into flames. It would seem the doors are guarded by a spell of fire. Prisoner tumbles back down the stairs. There's a scream from overhead as a birdman swoops down and grabs one of the escaped prisoners by the neck. The unfortunate woman is hoisted up into the air and then released. Shit, see, I feel like if I join the fight, it's going to expose my position. You keep watching as guards spill out of the mess hall. The prisoners are now vastly outnumbered and are being cut down. The yard runs with their blood. You keep watching, but something looms in front of you. A birdman stands before you. It hisses, I know your face. You all look the same to me. Apparently I'm racist. The creature laughs and opens its mouth to hiss, meanwhile its talons touches your neck. Oh shit. You feel a cold veil of death surrounding you, but a moment later you find yourself moving. Wait, what's going on? Is that the spell I'm supposed to cast? Set spell? This is weird. What does it do? I guess we'll see what happens. You do not cast the spell, but rather it casts you, pulling you open only to scatter you into the winds. What? You are being wrenched in directions you did not know existed. The pain is unbearable, and just when you think you will go mad from it, the forces tear you apart. Then you hit the ground in one piece, and the thin alleyway leading from the grate is where you met the beggar, but he is nowhere to be seen. You have lost 1 point of maximum stamina. You pat yourself down. You are quite alive. What is more, you have all your possessions in gold and knowledge intact. The narrow alley mouth opens onto the square. The moon is gone. The alley isn't a bad place to rest. You don't need... Wow, okay. I guess I'm not dead. This is weird. Different laughter from the east. Lost changer using... Okay, well, that was fun. Round 2 fight. Yes, let's try... Well, you know what? Maybe I can ask Shadrach for better advice this time. Archmage. Background. Oops. Yeah, it seems like I basically just get a second chance. Well, I definitely know not to go afoul of that whole prison break. Still don't have enough, I don't think. Let's see. Oh, I can go wait in line for the fortune teller again. That should be fun, right? Not to her. You are a fraud. The tone of the accusation barely registers with the hawker. Oh, friend, I commend you on your skepticism. We should not believe the words of strangers. We should judge with our own eyes, and that is why, just for you, allow an intelligent traveler such as you to experience the stone for only 2 gold pieces. Sure, why not? You pay the fee, da da da. Okay, maybe I can ask Shadrach better questions this time. Analander, familiar voice. Shadrach the Herman. Shadrach. What happened? Can I aid you? Are you safe? I'm dying. There is a comfort in that. Otherwise, I am a rock. What about your body? Long since was away, I'm now very old. Not your fault. Tell me of the Throban doors, you say. I can only tell you so much, replies the rock sadly. I know they are trapped with spells. 3 spells and a 4th that require that. Oh, wait. No one knows. What's in the abandoned towers, you ask? That is the inner college of Mampang, he answers, a place where magic was discovered and researched. The spell book you carry is based on the researches made in this place. What can you tell me about the city, you ask? Mampang, the city holds 1,000 captive souls, all of whom are subservient to the Archmage's will, though he rarely chooses to employ them. People here wander around their lives like rain through channels in rock. The rock rattles and then falls still for a time. I'm sorry, I'm... Okay, well, yeah, that was nice. I got a do-over at that. So, throw open doors that lock for fierce magic. First spell that locks doors is a spell of fire. College of Mampang is overrun by wild magic. So yeah, it definitely seems like I need to investigate that college if I'm going to learn enough about magic to be able to, if I'm going to have a chance to stop the Archmage. It seems like investigating magic is going to be a huge benefit to me. An old beggar woman lounges against the well nearby, watching people come and go from the market. A wider road leads west into a rundown area of the city. The wind picks up as the evening draws on. You walk west out of the square, following a wide road. It passes by a large gate. The sun is sinking and the sky is turning bruised purple. It will be dark soon. Before you is a stone facade that stretches the length of the street. 2 men in heavy robes sit on the steps. Arched windows are placed evenly, though several panes are missing. Worn steps lead to a door that is rather small for such a large building. The iron-studded doors are thrown open, and you glimpse a courtyard within. You greet the 2 men, and one of them grins. Haven't seen you before, but you are welcome. Welcome indeed. We've no food to give, if you wish for that. Effie, our god, forbids it. There's plenty to be earned, in a sense. What is this place? A monastery. We are dedicated to Effie the Fortuitous. He gestures up the stairs. Feel free to enter, but you'll have to excuse us. My companion and I are a little busy betting on the patterns of the crowds. You nod and make your way through the gate. Maybe I can sleep here. That would be nice. Step in the yard of the monastery. It is much quieter here, and a sense of calm peace exudes from the building, as though protected from the evils of the citadel around. A short flight of steps leads further inside into a wide, busy hall. Nearby, a monk watches you with gentle interest. You approach the monk and bow your head. Welcome to our place of contemplation, she says. You have the eyes of a lost soul. I am not lost. So have you come to be saved by the grace of Effie? Perhaps, she nods. Uncertainty is good. Are you a monk here? I am, she says. I've been in the order many years now. Why did you join, you ask, if I may? You may, and I will be honest. It was for food originally, but soon I began to see the sense in Effie's nudges. Living here has helped me embrace chance and risk. Nudges? For those who trust in her and take risks, she will provide nudges, second chances, tilted odds, insight into the disordered order of things. But you must first take the risk and believe. If you lean too heavily on her grace, she will move from beneath you and let you fall. Does she control fate? You misunderstand me. If she controlled fate, there would be no risk. She simply oversees. She watches us take gambles and weigh odds. Shall we please her, she nudges. The monk smiles and pulls out a scrumpled sheet of paper. Well met, the monk says, but now I must return to the contemplating these creases. May your next nudge come from Effie. You nod your thanks and turn away. Cries and cheers come from inside the monastery building. Well, this is a little weird, but I guess I'll check it out. You climb the steps into the monastery building. This place seems rather busy for a monastery. Monks and citizens crowd around long tables, and a commotion is coming from a crowd to one side. Wide doors lead deeper into the monastery itself. Small, iron-lined windows dot the walls, allowing a little light. Most of Effie's monks are gambling, or betting in one way or another. One stands on one leg, while another counts seconds. Opposite, 2 monks stand under a tree, guessing when a particular leaf will fall. Along a far wall, surrounded by many spectators, is an intricate race course for rats. Rattle of dice and grumble of betting comes from a side chamber. Let's try the rat run. You walk up to the rat course, elbowing your way through the crowd. 4 rats are hurrying through an assortment of turns and obstacles, trying to reach the molding morsel of cheese fixed to a spike at the far end. Monk with scars on his face directs the proceedings. The scarred monk looks up at you. Here to bet? I have questions. Ask away, the monk says. Do the rats enjoy racing? I don't know. They run without prodding. Could be they like the cheese. What can I win, you ask? He stares at you. Gold, of course. That's what betting is. Are you new to this? Are the rats magical? What? No. Why would we use magical rats? They just run, after all. Monk shivers. What a horrible idea, anyway. A magical rat. Monk is called by another to supervise another race. I wish to bet, you declare. This should be an interesting race, the monk handing the wagers to you. The stake will be 30 gold pieces. What do you say? That is too much, you admit. The scarred monk shrugs and the race begins. You leave the rat course behind. You return to the courtyard. Move. Check out the dice chamber. You walk over into a long room set with a wooden table on which several games of swindlestones are being played. You find a monk who grins at you. Fancy a game? We stake 10 gold pieces in Effie honors. Stake is too much, you tell the monk. Here then, he hands you 10 gold pieces from his pocket. In Effie's honor. Now, a game. Well, I can't refuse now. You agree to play, bringing out your dice. The monk counts out 3 dice each and takes first bid. Okay. Bye, Effie. I've never seen you before. This is your first time here? Yes, let's do it. I've traveled very far. Bye, Effie. You are most welcome. Please have a 4. Please have a 4. Yeah, there are 2 4s. The round is mine. Okay, let's see. I'll start with... He's got 2 dice. Problem is I don't have double of anything, so I don't really have a strong position to bet. Let's just do 1, 2. So who is Effie? Who do you think she is? She is the goddess of the twin winds, fortune and chance. Alright, I'll go with... Oh, this is one hell of a bet, but I'm going to go 3 4s. Because I bet he probably has one. 4 4s. Ah, there's no way, buddy. She's like a coin. It has 2 faces. One is fair, the other's not. Call, buddy. You lose. Alright, so he's got 1 dice. My Effie. Do you have faith? I'm pledged to a spirit, the gorilla. Let's do... Yeah, so let's just do 2 4s and end this. My faith is my own. You should not be shy of your faith. Ta-da! I win. Without even losing a dice. I've gotten quite good at that, Swindlestones. I win, don't I? Monk nods with great pleasure and hands over 10 gold pieces to as you take back your stake. A fine match, the monk declares. Another? You decline. The monk nods. True luck does not always favor play, he agrees. You get up from the long table, the monk bidding you goodbye. You return to the courtyard. Wow, I've got a ton of gold now. Back into the courtyard. Make a move. Further into the monastery. Let's see. I want to see if I can find a place to sleep here, honestly. You walk deeper into the cool of the monastery. It is much quieter in here. Your footsteps echo on the cool stone floor, and you emerge into a wide hall. Pews line one side. An altar is in the corner. You pause for a while to listen to the singing. It is a strange tune, restless, sometimes harmonious, but at other times horrifically atonal, as though all the singers are singing their own songs, letting them coincide or conflict as luck would have it. The effect is rather unsettling, and not especially pleasant. You take a moment to rest on one of the stone benches. It is a peaceful spot, perhaps the most peaceful in all of Mampang. Chanting fills the space. You could explore the monastery further or return to the streets. You move closer to the altar and the pews. Some kind of service is going on. Monks are cluttered in groups, chanting in a slurring monotone. A monk in bright red robes, the abbot, stands with arms outstretched. You stand and watch the service. The chanting is odd, a droning buzz lacking discernible phrases. You catch snatches of what might be words, but they sound like a strange imitation of language. Some monks are jovial, whispering to each other and jostling, but others are solemn. The abbot, his bright habit distinguishing him, stands placidly at the front of the room. The altar near him is covered in bronze, its top battered and pitted. Atop is a small bowl and a set of metal dice. The chanting peers out, and the abbot smiles. Brothers and sisters, the abbot declares, we give our thanks to Effie. We meditate on the changes and chances that fill our lives. We give ourselves over to the dice roll, to the risk, and let her nudge as she sees fit. He gestures to a monk, who approaches the altar. Sister, it is your day to roll. Monk approaches, grabs the dice, and tosses them across the altar with a clang. The abbot considers the dice and tuts. No luck for you. Half rations for a day. Think upon this chance. There's a long stretch of chanting, and then the service comes to an end. The monks file out towards the gardens or linger by the altar. The echoes die away. The monks stand and file away. You step back to the doors once more. Behind you, the ceremony comes to an end, and the monks file past into the courtyard. The abbot himself emerges into the room, in quiet discussion with a few senior monks. You catch the abbot's sleeve. He smiles at you. Greetings, I have not seen you before. Are you in charge here? Indeed I am, he says. I have the honor of safeguarding Effie's legacy. We are the last monastery in Mampang, you know. Were there others? Oh yes, but long ago. Mostly temples with several priests. There is still plenty of worship of other gods, and we all pay homage to the Archmage. But this is the last bastion of dedicated worship. The abbot makes the sign of the helpless shrug before continuing. Now, do you have any questions about Effie? Why the dice, you ask? We find it the purest expression of chance. Effie is, after all, the fortuitous goddess. She rewards the dedicated ones by nudging the odds in our favor. But in order to experience her boon, we must take risk and invite chance into our lives. A cowled figure passes by and the abbot nods. So, the abbot says, turning back to you, does our goddess intrigue you? In what manner? You seem a little confused. I'm asking if you wish to worship Effie. The abbot places his hand on your shoulder. Will you consider it? Will you worship Effie with us? I will not convert. The abbot shakes his head. A shame, he says, but I still hope you will seize the odds when you can. Farewell. The abbot nods to you and moves away into the monastery. Monks move this way and that about their business. Yeah, I like my gorilla spirit. He's been with me through quite a lot of nonsense. You head down a short flight of steps into the dormitories unseen. You find a row of plain cots and a table cluttered with different games of chance. Outside, night has fallen. The cots are filled with sleeping bodies. Can I sleep here? Sleeping here would surely lead to you being discovered, and there are no free berths. Ah, dang. Oh well. You climb back up the stairs into the quiet chamber. Sure. Yeah, see, I'd rather keep my captain's, uh, uniform. Oh, I guess I still need a place to sleep then, is the problem. I could just stay up all night again, I suppose. The road! The road curves along the edge of a tall stone wall, eventually reaching a low metal door. The moon moves slowly across the dark sky. The door is made of thin strips of metal riveted together, with a few gaps and holes between the plates. Peering through the holes, you make out a sea of waving grass stalks, tall and clearly half wild. You push at the door and surprised to find it is not locked. It is, however, heavy enough that it swings shut when you release it. The night air is cool and good for walking. Yeah, I guess let's check out the fields. Maybe no one will discover me here. Slip under the archway to a wide field of wheatgrass. Each stalk is taller than you stand. The heavy door slams shut behind you. Look over to the door. It is solid, but seems in good repair, as though used fairly frequently. It does not appear to be locked. Move away from the door and into the grasslands. Wading through the long wheat like this will be hard work. You walk on through the long grass. Then something large slithers across your foot. Hopping back, you see a large snake disappear into the wheat. Back away from the snake. The stalks close around you. Where did it go? You stride onwards towards the field of wheat. The spire stands in front of you, as high as an ancient tree, but impossibly thin. How can it stay upright? At the base is an opening just large enough to enter. The spire is built from tiny stacked stones into a low pointed tower. It is clearly old and somewhat poorly maintained. There is a low door at its base, so it hardly seems large enough for a person to enter. You can venture inside the dim space within the narrow spire. It should provide a safe place to sleep. A chill settles around your shoulders. Weak moonlight filters in from above, but the ceiling is shrouded from view. There is no floor, but the grass underfoot is bare and short. The center of the room is a small shrine, a cut stump of wood on which stands a tiny clay idol. You investigate around the shrine, but find nothing except a rotten ladder bolted to one wall, most of its rungs missing. You approach the shrine with cautious reverence. A hefty tree stump. It has been carried here, and carefully cut and sanded. The idol on top is unpainted clay. You kneel down to pray at the shrine. Your mind empties and you hear whispering from far below. The earth shifts slightly as the gorilla recoils from the presence of the narrow word. Words are coming unbidden to your mind. It takes great effort, but you steel your lips and tear yourself to your feet. The curious grip of the simple altar is broken the moment your knees leave the ground. You are sweating. Yeah, I'm not going to sleep here. You attempt to scale the ladder, but there are too few handholds and the ladder is far too old to be of any use, even if there was anything worth climbing up to. Yeah, this is giving me definitely not a good vibe. Not a good vibe at all. I just want to find some place to sleep. Is that too much to ask? At this point, I'm just going to walk through the night. You pace on through the tall, swaying stems. The stalks nearby shiver, and then the snake you saw earlier busts up. You twist away as it rears up and goes for your neck, and your blade is out before it can disappear again, and you track it with hawk eyes. You have fought larger serpents than this one. Keeping your eye on the snake, you slash around it. The wheat falls in rough clumps, giving you a better view of the creature, not be able to hide as easily, giving you an edge in the fight. Let's see, is there a good spell I can use? I haven't used a good spell in a long time. Yeah, let's just do a Raz. That should be a good one, right? Do I still have beeswax left? Using another handful of your beadwax, you rub down the blade of your cutlass and weave your enchantment. The blade gleams and glitters as it sharpens itself to a razor's edge. Alright, yeah, I got this. Bow! Doesn't matter, I have way more stamina than you. The serpent's great claws are winding around your feet. In a moment, they tighten and snap your ankles. You slash out at it, hoping to cut off its head. As it rears back out of reach, the creature's eyes glitter and glow. Pow! Take that, jerk. The serpent is retreating, but you give chase. Launching off your heels, you lunge for the beast's neck, cutting into the soft flesh of the snake's exposed neck. The terrible creature can barely hold up its neck. It snaps and bites at the air between you. Yeah, get out of here with that nonsense. The serpent is now afraid. Swinging up from a low crouch, you aim to sever its head. With a great cloud of dust, the head of the serpent crashes to the ground, and the light in its eyes goes forever dark. No stamina lost, flawless fighting. Stalks break and crack around you as you walk. The gleam on your sword edge fades. The night air is cold. Yeah, let's get out of here. You move onward through the long glass. You stand by heavy when the door is closed. Open the door. You try to open the door, but you find it open. But you try the door and find it open, but stiff. The door is open just wide enough for you to slide yourself through. Door, you call it. You better find somewhere safe to sleep. Yes, let's just see if I can sleep in the side street. You walk down a narrow street lined by low warehouses. You catch the scent of grain as you pass one. Let's try these broken buildings. Maybe no one will bother me here. Oh shit, well, too late for that, I guess. You pick your way through broken buildings and through the wreckage of fallen homes. It seems the city once housed a lot more people than it does now. Perhaps its life is simply ebbing away. Across the ruins you can make out the stalls and tents of the market. It is quiet for the night. It must be morning by now. You have been awake all night and are weaker for it. Balls. Oh well. You walk down a narrow street lined by low warehouses. You catch the... Keep walking. You continue walking towards them, your pace steady and breath even. Nearing the three, you can make out snatches of talk. But how do you manage it? One asks. If I said the word, could I do it? No, no, the captain replies. You need to know how to say it, using your will to channel the light. Not just a matter of spouting off a word or two. The guards nod to you as they pass by, but pay you no more notice. You continue along the short alley. You slip into a warehouse. Inside, plenty of empty space, some of it lined with straw. The interior is quiet as dark. Oh, well, I guess this would have been a good place to sleep. You search around the straw to see if anything has been left behind from the last time this place was stocked. In one corner you find a bracelet of bone. What a stroke of luck! You head for the door once more. You enter the side street once you encounter the trio of guards. You make your way along the quiet, debris-strewn alley. There is nothing here but silence and the faintest smell of death. The air moves little around you. Still icy, but fresh. The buildings here are clearly inhabited. Used only by Mampang's lowest strata of society. These are people without hope. Suddenly, a door bursts open next to you. A woman sprints out of it, then slams it closed. Leaning against it, she takes a series of heaving breaths. She is dressed in a loose cloth shirt with a bandana tied around her forehead. A notched cutlass hangs from her belt. She looks at you after catching her breath. Can I help you? She asks. What are you running from? A crooked grin appears on her face. Ronnie Golandi, at your service, she says. I just emerged from a small disagreement with some goblins. Nothing to worry about, really. What disagreement? The goblins and I were just discussing certain irregularities in their finances. I see, she grins. Fine, I robbed them. I ran circles around the silly creatures and robbed them blind. She pushes herself up and away from the wall. Now, before you have to report that to your superiors, Captain Sir, I'll be going. Be seeing you. With that, she dives away into a nearby alley and is gone. Taking a quantity of your cheese and bread from your pack, you fill your empty stomach. You turn to return down the street. Okay, let's check out the main road. North. The road leads away towards a ruined portion of the citadel. As the sun climbs towards its zenith, the wind blowing between the buildings pick up a little. So, is this the university or is this the university? I guess both of them are. I don't know. Let's just check out here and see what's going on. The road ends in a tall wall of obsidian black bricks, tall enough to keep out a giant. But the wall has crumbled, brought down by the piercing gripweed vines that cover its length. You could scramble over fallen stones and inside easy enough. The middle of the day is hot. Scramble up onto a block and peer over the wall. Beyond stretches an empty region of lapping water, from which tall, isolated, gloomy towers rise. Strange noises reach you from across the wall. You scramble up and over the broken wall onto a narrow strand of stone on the edge of a watery pool. Towers rise on all sides, connected by spidery paths. Sand is scattered over the edge of the pool. You scoop up a couple handfuls of usable sand. The path between the towers awaits. You leave the shade of the wall and follow the stepping stones out across the water. Everywhere the signs of ruin abound. Weeds crack the stones. Turret roofs and buttresses have collapsed into heaps. Why has the Archmage allowed such ruin? The sun has reached its highest point now. What is this place? It looks like no part of Mampang you have yet encountered. The air itself is somehow different. The air itself feels tightened, as though the world is stretched thin here, a taut drum skin, pulled over a too wide frame. Feels as though the tiniest step might unleash a powerful rupture. You look up for the stars, but can find nothing. The starlight seems to bend and divert before it can reach you, as though being funneled away. What is happening in this place? The path splits here, with the shortest way leading up an arched doorway in a nearby tower. You look over at the nearby tower. It is squat and ugly, with a low, slightly squalid archway leading inside, but you must keep moving. I guess let's go ahead and check this tower out. Maybe at least I'll find out if this is the college or not. You cross the waters and push your way inside the crumbling tower, without knowing what you might find. Once inside, you immediately break out into a smile. This tower might be gloomy, but it's certainly relief after a ruin outside. You have a quick peek around the room, this way and that. It is curiously dark. You pay special attention to the corners, hoping to find something interesting. A colorful spider, maybe, or some nice, juicy moss. You don't see anything, and after a while, you start to feel a bit let down. The atmosphere of this place seems genuinely good for you. What a charming place! Uh-oh, I don't like this at all. You open your arms to cast a spell and end up falling over backwards and collapsing into giggles. Such a shame there's no one here to enjoy this place with you. It really is quite delightful. You head for the door, but get distracted by the way. The view of the outside world moves left and right a little as you sway from side to side. You're soon standing on the spot and just swaying. You close your eyes and attempt to offer a prayer, but end up singing a song from your childhood instead. 5 sight masters wearing spiky hats. The song brings a smile to your face, and it must be said, a tear to your eye. You look over the doors. There is one behind you and one in front, but when you try to count them, you find you can't quite manage it. It's probably because turning to look at one means the other is behind, so you can't see it anymore, and you can hardly count something you can't see after all. Eventually you decide there are most likely 2 doors here, even if you can't really be certain. Why would you leave? The empty chamber is fascinating. You turn around on the spot a few times to get a full view and fall over. You have another try for the far door, though you are by now turned around enough that you can't really be sure which door is which. Stepping out into the open, you feel a slight headache coming on, so you had drunk too much ale. Oh, fuck. I don't know, I guess east door? You step back out onto the path and follow it a short way. 3 paths meet at this point in the shadow of the eastern rock. From the eastern tower you hear the faintest sound of music. The wind picks up a little spray from the water and splashes into your face. It stings where it touches you. You lean out over the path and look into the water. It is black, reflectionless, as though empty, infinitely deep. You drop one of your pebbles into the water. It sinks without trace, and without even a ripple. The air seems to fuzz and crackle with energy. What now? I don't know if I should trust these towers, though. I guess let's just give this one a shot. Thin heat beats down from an empty sky. You enter the next tower nervously. The chamber is large, circular, and peppered with dark alcoves. The floor is poor marble, and as are the walls. In the center, standing on a pedestal of rough stone, is a large stone sculpture of a ram. You pause to admire the statue. It is about twice your height, cut smoothly into the glossy rock. The craftsmanship is impressive, sculptured fur that looks soft enough to touch. There's only one flaw. The eyes lack pupils and are instead solid right arms. You cannot shake the feeling that the statue is looking at you. You scan the room. Nothing moves, but the darkness in the alcoves might hide something. Across the room is a set of double doors, large enough that 3 ogres could walk through. Another doorway leads north, but the path in that direction has crumbled into ruin. The marble covering the walls and floors is quite exquisite, but peering closer you notice splintering cracks. What could have caused such damage? Just then the statue behind you moves. Its marble body groans with strains as its head lifts to face you. It shakes itself, the stone flaking. 2 blank eyes stare you down. It jerks and twitches as it raises a leg. It brings a hoof down onto the stone. The air shudders with the force of a single step. The ram descends from the pedestal, never taking its eyes from you. You shift your rate, ready to leap or attack, but the ram simply stares, unblinking and unmoving. Then it takes one more halting step, lowers its head, and begins to charge. You hold your nerve as the creature plows closer. At the last minute, you leap sideways, but the rampaging beast still clips you as it passes, knocking you to the floor. Dazed, on the ground, you hear the thunderous steps as the creature turns. You look around just as the ram barrels into you once more. Caught by its horns, you are carried bodily across the room until the creature slams you into the wall. The marble cracks under the blow, and you slide onto the ground, barely able to breathe. The thing backs off a short way, readying another charge. You get to your feet nauseous. By simply entering this room, you have sealed your fate. This is now a fight for your life. Oh boy, let's see what I can do. Can I just float above it? No, okay. Yeah, let's do wall. Wall sounds good. Consulting the constellations above, you bind the spell, throwing up an invisible barrier in front of you, just in time too as the ram charges at you. It is stopped cold by the magic, but the magic will not hold forever. You tug on the far door of the chamber, but they do not budge. The effects on the ram will not last much longer. You grasp the door handles, but it fails to turn. It is locked. You hear hoofbeats behind you and turn to see the beast charging again. You try to dodge, but there is no time. Before you can even blink, the ram is upon you. It propels you into the far door, which cracks down the middle. You struggle to stay conscious. The creature patters away in a wide arc, circling the room to gain distance. It is getting ready to charge. You turn to kick the door, but cracked as it is, it hardly even budges, and the ram is upon you. You are caught by its horns and tossed into the door with tremendous force. Each section of the door breaks free from the force of the ram's blow and falls right on the creature's head. It staggers back, dazed. You vault through the now broken door, only to have it shatter as the ram lands once more desperate charge. You land an explosion of wood and stone on the other side of the door. The hard behind you is now in splinters, but the ram stands on the threshold with barely a scratch. You waste no time and run as far as from the chamber as you can get. Slowly, the terrible ram returns to its pedestal, facing the far door and resuming its eternal duty. Wow, shit, I did really bad. I think I made all the worst choices I possibly could have there, but at least I'm alive. You stand atop a short walkway between 2 towers. A stone archway passage holds a doorway, but the door has been bricked over. The work looks shoddy and rushed. You are feeling weak, so you stop to rest and meditate. The sun lowers towards the horizon. Soon it will be dark once more. Eventually you get back to your feet once more, somewhat refreshed. For just a moment, you catch the sound of muttering coming from somewhere nearby. You press your ear to a gap in the mortar. You hear grunting, scratching, and the tearing of flesh. There is a thump as something is thrown against the wall and what might be a bone snapping. You pull up your pack and pull out the chopping knife and begin to scrape away the dusty mortar between the bricks. It comes away quickly in lumps. You kick the wall. It bows with the blow, mortar crumbling away. It is weakened. You kick again. The weakened wall does not crumble, but you do hurt your foot. You push against the weakened spot in the wall where you scraped away the mortar, and it gives way. The bricks crumble inward, leaving a choking cloud of dust. A moment later, 2 goblins squeeze through the hole in the wall, knocking you to the ground in their haste. It seems they were bricked up inside the tower. The sight that meets your eyes is truly foul. The room within the tower is crowded with goblins, both living and dead. It seems they have been trapped here for some time. The walls and floor are slick with gore, layers and layers of it. Goblins themselves do not seem to have noticed you. They are too busy rolling this way and that, fighting. As you watch, a new goblin pops into existence quite from nowhere. She whips her head around in confusion for a second before being tackled to the ground by 3 others. They snap her neck and tear into her flesh. They eat her raw. The scene is repeated a moment later in another part of the room. There are clumps of hair and teeth littering the corners. Sealing your courage, and with your hand at your sword hilt, you step inside the foul-smelling tower. What the hell is this messed up place? You step into the chamber. The smell is worse than you could have imagined. A few of the goblins look from their rampant cannibalism to stare at you with slack-jawed expressions. How long have they been stuck in here? Let's see, what can I do to help? Rock. Yeah, let's do a gag. Then I can talk to them. You fumble with your spell, but it doesn't. Oh shit! Really? Shit! I thought. Was it Yap? Maybe. I thought I did have a green-haired wig. Right? Yeah, I do have a green-haired wig. Isn't that what you need to cast a talking spell? Okay, let's see. What else can I do? Foff. Can't remember what Foff does. Let's try Dud. I haven't used that in a while. You wind the stars into an order around you, hoping to distract them with treasure, but none appears. Instead, there's a wrenching sound, and the goblins disappear. A counterspell, then? So the spell of goblin summoning opposes the enchantment of false treasure. Oh, well that's good to know. Inside the tower, only corpses remain. The door to the east is closed, and the door in the west wall is open. You rifle a few of the goblin carcasses, but to no avail. These must have been sorry creatures. Normal goblins would rather die than live without a few gold pieces in their pocket. The ones do not even have teeth in their mouth, perhaps as a result of whatever magic conjured them here. You search the corners of the room, finding clumps of hair and scraps of bone, the remains of the endless cycle of goblins that have occupied the space. There are still no teeth. And at the very bottom of a mess of hair and rags, you find something silver. Gingerly, you reach into the wreckage of bodies and pull upwards a long silver chain from which hangs a small silver key. You try the door. It is locked. You try the silver key in the lock of the eastern door. It turns. The poor, stupid creatures. The key was here all this time, but they were too busy eating each other to notice. There is nothing here but death. You cannot leave fast enough. Well, at least I stopped that horrible experimentation from happening, I guess. You make your way along the walkway between 2 towers. The sun is now sinking down. All around, you sense the powerful aura of starlight, washing through this place like icy seawater, and the tower at your back is no more reassuring. Looking down, you see other paths sinking between the towers below, but the drop is not inconsiderable. You back away from the railings and consider the towers instead. From the tower behind you, you hear a sudden gibbering cry. A horde of ravenous goblins pour from the now open door and scatter in all directions. You have not seen a horde like it since the gates of Kare. You stand back and watch as some hurl themselves off the walkway and into the water, while others scale the tower. None pay any attention to you. After a few minutes later, a hue and cry is over, and they have all gone, disappearing into the distance across the college. With luck, you will not meet any of them. You approach the tower door. It is well preserved and quite intact. You inspect the door, but find no hidden latches or secrets. Unlike most of the doors you have seen in the college so far, this one is in good condition, with few splinters or nicks. A thick layer of dust clings to it. There is the remains of a sign on the wall next to the door, but the only word you can make out is "only." The other words have been gouged away with a knife point. You press your ear to the door, but hear nothing. You lie on your stomach, receiving a thorough coating of dust. Peering through the gap in the door, you spy the legs of a chair and what appears to be a small table placed next to it. You see nothing else, no feet or other furniture. The room appears quite small. You grasp a whole handle and push open the door. Nothing jumps out. You step through the doorway, only to find yourself back outside, the door closed once more. Alright, let's see if I can do a howl. There we go. Good stuff. You craft a spell. A quiet voice enters your mind. The magic here is powerful, the voice says. It can be countered, but the magic required is of the most profound and holy. Okay. What's profound and holy magic? And it'd be really nice to have my spell book right about now. What's the one that makes the... There's one that converts water into holy water, I think. What does Far do? Just curious, maybe it'll help me out here. You settle into a sitting position on the ground and take out the orb of crystal. Reaching up to the stars, you create the magic and suddenly find yourself somewhere quite new. You see a small bare room. There is a table and a chair. A woman sits in the chair, carefully marking a piece of slate. Then she grasps a nearby hourglass and turns it. She raises her arms and seems to chant. Looking over, she notices the hourglass still running and appears despondent. She marks the slate again as the vision fades. Alright, let's try... What is a holy magic? Zip, definitely not. Res, maybe? Yeah, that's it. You raise the spell, but you're like, oh shit. Lacking the focus it needs, so the casting fizzles away. Door swings open. Let me try it again, now that the door's open. Because that's the only thing I can think of in terms of holy spells. Wait a second time. I mean, maybe I just need holy water for it to work, but I'm not sure if there's another spell I can use. Zip. Probably not. Dot, probably not. Sap. How? Already did that. It's gotta be res, but I guess I just need holy water for it to work. You weave the constellation to an immediate field so that you know the creature enter. You step through the doorway again. Rest a while. Yeah, I guess there's no point in doing this, I guess. You tug sharply on it, it seems well fixed to the wall. The rungs were no doubt added to allow people past the north tower without having to find a way through. You quickly begin to scramble up the roof of the tower. You cling to the tower top, determined not to let the wind whip you free. You look across the towers of the inner college. They are all different in subtle and strange ways. They all seem to crackle with energy. Their layout seems both haphazard and deliberate. So you're reading a map of a country you have often walked, but never seen from above. Looking up the sorcerer's spike from here, it climbs thick and tall into the rumbling skies, a watchman over the centuries that fill this courtyard. There's a sense of the ancient over everything here. Looking down on the other side of the tower, there are no further rungs. You'll have to slither and drop down as best as you can. Yeah, this is crazy. I feel like I just don't know enough about magic to deal with this. I'm guessing each tower is related to a different spell, so I gotta know not only how to deal with the spell, but how to countersign it. Which sucks because I don't have a lot of the magic items I need for this stuff. You slither down the slopes of the tower, landing on this walkway beyond. Another walkway leading between two doors. The south door is closed, while the north one hangs ajar. Looking up, you can just make out the perch at the top of the turret. There's no way up from here. You approach the tower door. The door on this side is exactly the same as the door on the other, except there is no sign. Turn the handle again, the door opens easily once more. Step through the doorway, and reappear outside once more. The short hallway makes for a quiet place to rest, reasonably secluded. Laying your pack down, you try to rest despite the strange noises that drift through the air. Close your eyes and let your tiredness overtake you. You roll over trying to sleep, but you cannot seem to rest. After a while, you get to your feet and you begin to walk through the darkness. Crumbling walls and broken towers move past on either side. You are walking past an old crumbling building when you hear voices. Listen closer, leaning against the wall. It sounds like a distant crowd, too far even to be on the other side of the wall. Where are those voices coming from? You rap on the wall, and a chorus of tiny screams ring out in response. Who's there? You cry. The voices die for a moment, then resume. You fail to hear any acknowledgement, but the voices are so distant it is hard to tell. Looking out over the wall, you spot a missing brick. A green-gray mold has covered the gap, coating the interior with fuzz. As you lean down to peer at the mold, you realize the voices are glowing louder. You poke at one of the mold lumps, which squishes slightly. It springs back into shape quickly. Another chorus of scream emanates from the mold itself. Then something else catches your eye. Movement. Hundreds of tiny specks swarm across the surface of the brick, fleeing the spot of your poking. What could they be? You watch the hypnotic patterns in the mold, moving this way and that. They seem to grow as you stare, becoming first veins, then branches, then finally streets and road. The world around you is filling with gray, and the air turns to fuzz and smokes. There you are sitting in a valley of soft grass. You get to your feet and take in the scenery. The hills around you are a riot of greens and purples. Blotches of strange growths make dancing patterns, and everything is covered in fine fuzz. Overhead is the pitted underside of the next brick in the wall. It's rather like being in a cavern open on one side. The place you came from is indistinct. Everything out there is so large now it is nearly impossible to discern. The hill you are sitting on obscures most of your vision. Perhaps you could get a better view from the top? You call out, but there is no reply. Are you alone? You climb the hill for a better view. You now look down into another valley, ringed by hills. Nestled at the foot is an extraordinary sight. Huts! They are a curious mixture of mold, meat fragments, and scraps of cloth. From the looks of it, you could easily stay in one. There are a few dozen scattered about in what looks to be a disorganized village. A pavilion is set up in front of the half-eaten drumstick, which is the size of a fortress. A large altar dominates. Seems you have been spotted. Creatures are clambering towards you, blobs of mold with black beady eyes and no mouths or limbs. Creatures are hard to make out from this distance, but you see them hurrying to and fro in their huts. From this distance, they appear to be shapeless blobs the same color of the mold. They have recovered from your poking, though their movements are still rushed. They move along the ground by simply rolling. You stay where you are, watching them climb. They are quite dexterous in their rolling, managing to stay in a straight line even as their eyes continue to lose sight of their destination. Just like the mold of the hills and huts, they are covered in a soft fuzz and squish a little when making contact with the ground. They soon reach the top of the hill. One rolls forward and begins to speak in a rough imitation of the common tongue. Its voice sounds like a bag of pebbles, so it's a bit hard to follow. Welcome, we are Galish, and this is our home. You have been summoned by Mucor's magic. Would you come down to the village? Yes, the Gillis puffs up with pleasure. Excellent. This way, please. You will notice most do not speak your tongue. I myself only learned through careful study of passing thunderstorms. You follow the group down the hill, chatting with your escort. You follow them to a village built on thousands of levels and in thousands of directions, made of spindles and spires and webbed threads. Creatures gather around you, pawing at your body, your clothing and possessions, fascinated, appalled, and uninhibited. Who are you? We are the memories of this place, the Gilius replies in a chorus. This place is too old, and yet it lives. They try to feed you from the rotten meat around which their village is built. One tries to caress you with tendrils pushed deep in your nostrils. You cough and choke violently as the mold fills your mouth and eyes. Okay, we have no new clues. You get to your feet, shivering slightly in the morning chill. Wait, was that it? I guess was that all a dream? Oh, dang. You turn away from the door, so you head away from. You continue to walk right along to the next tower. Yeah, I guess the mold was all a weird dream. That was very bizarre. You make your way across a stone walkway, arching high into in the air above the swirling waters that pool below, till you reach the next curious tower. The early morning sun makes the air glow. The tower contains a large circular room. A few steps in, however, and you begin to lose your bearings. But the tower itself is simple, clear space. There's something disorienting about it. Perhaps it is because there are so many doors, between 20 and 30 at rough guess. Worryingly, in the middle of the floor lies a skeleton. Alright, well, let's hit another sus, because I think that's the only way I'm going to learn how to counter all this magic. Oh no, no sus. Let's see. Let's try a zip. I feel like that would probably be a good counter here. You're lacking a critical item. When it seems perfectly careless, there are no signs of energy fragments across here and there. Looking more closely at the fragments, you can see they're not the robes of a sorcerer or a merchant, but the rags of a peasant, some local of Mampang perhaps. In one flap of cloth you find simple bronze rings that have fallen from a finger joint. Pick up the ring and slip it into your pocket. It is of no use for magic and will not be worth anything, yet it may be useful somewhere. You turn your attention to the doors, set at regular spaces around this place. There are about 60 or 70 of them. You can no longer tell which door is the one you came from. Let's see, I feel like this is the stupid spell. Dumb, maybe? So what would be a good counter to that? You sit cross-legged on the ground and put your palms on the orb. You cast the enchantment and everything changes. You are standing by one of the doors and stepping through onto a path. A moment later, the vision disappears and the walls of the room in which you stand appear to collapse until you are standing in a simple tower. Counterspell then? So the spell of opening is negated by that of foresight. With the aid of the spell, you feel fairly confident of which door is which. Time to put it to the test. Let's go this way, I guess. Path passes the base of another tower and set to the side of the central mountain peak itself, but even the peak of Mampang is dwarfed by the endless mountains of Upper Zamet, stretching away northward like a turbulent gray ocean. You pause, taking in the endless vista. These lands are cruel and cold, a part of the world not made for humans, but they are still inhabited by low creatures, by birds, by a few strange sapient reptiles. Nowhere in the old world is truly empty, except perhaps these towers through which you now walk. The air stirs a little, still cold but fresh. You approach the next weird tower, wondering what you will find this time. The interior of the tower is quite empty except for a brass sphere in the center, capped with a black sloth. The sphere rotates slowly, smoothly, on some invisible gimbal. Perhaps it is lightly floating. The black cloth is draped over the top of the gently rotating sphere. There's nothing remarkable about it. Let's see, can I figure this out? Well, can I get a sus? That would be swell. Please help me, sus. You're my only hope. Looking to the last two crafts also. There's magic at work here that is not one you can feel happening, and not one that will do you any harm. Especially deliver the spell fades. You whip the black cloth away from the blast sphere. Nothing happens except you uncover a dull gray white circle set into the sphere, as though the whole ball encases whatever this thing is. You run your finger over the white circle. There's definitely something buried inside the sphere. Something that feels like dry wood or too warm stone. It takes a moment to place. It is bone. You nudge the sphere gently, and it bobs away from its socket and back again, continuing to turn. You hunt across the surface of the sphere for some kind of catch, but find nothing. Whatever it is inside seems to have been molded into place. Let's see, what else can I do? Sap. Res isn't gonna work. I'm not really sure what to do here. See, the problem is I just don't know enough about how magic works in terms of like spells and counter spells and stuff. Yeah, maybe. Grabbing the wig from your pack, you pull it, but it seems there are no creatures, so the spell has no attacks. Come on, this definitely has to be something important. If I could just figure out how to get it. I don't think Zob is even anything. Far, I already used as a counter spell. Does Yaz do anything? See, the problem is that even if I did know what spell to use, I don't know if I really have the materials to really make it work. Yeah, alright, let's just leave, I guess. As you turn to go, a voice intones in your head. 3. Who's there? Your question is met by nothing but silence. 3? Okay. Does that actually help me figure this out? Let's do far and see if that helps. You turn the starlight. You're standing on. You reach to take out a black skull cap. The vision fades. Oh, but do I even have a black Colt skull cap? I don't think I do. I have a cloth skull cap, but I don't have a black one. Yeah, there's no thing for a tell. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do then. See, that's the problem, is I can't really do a lot with these towers. A few clouds scud across the sky. You follow the path and make your way to the next tower uncertainly. What is this place? Why was it built? Chamber is empty save for a few crates stacked against one wall. Thick dust covers the floor with no footprint visible. A storeroom? You step into the room, kicking up a small cloud of dust as you walk. The air inside is shimmering. Then suddenly, you are blinded by a dazzling gaze. You shield your eyes, fearing attack, but instead a calm voice declares, "Do not fear me. You have nothing to fear. You are welcome." The voice is littling, beautiful, calm, familiar. "My friend," the voice continues, "surely you know me." And then you know her voice and fall to your knees. "Libra!" "Yes, I am Libra," she replies. "I have come to help you, but at great risk. We must speak quickly, and then you must go." I don't trust this. I don't trust this. I don't trust this at all. I don't trust this. I'm gonna burn all my stamina on susses. You weave the spell. A calm voice speaks into your thoughts. The back of your neck prickles even before the spell is complete, and the voice all but hisses in your mind. Do not trust her. Its word spoken, the enchantment fizzles away. Libra's warmth overtakes you. You feel truly safe, at least for the moment. She senses your need and smiles. "What do you need of me?" "Do you have any advice?" "I do. You must seek out the sleepless ram, but do not fear it. It is simply an illusion. Stand in its path and you will break the spell." "I've encountered the ram already." "Really?" replies Libra, then quickly says, "I know this, but you have missed its most important secret." She bows her head. "There's not much time," Libra continues. "The Archmage will soon discover my presence and banish me, but I'm able to grant you a single boon." She holds out a glowing hand. "I'm able to transform something you own into an item of truly powerful magic, powerful enough to overcome whatever you face." "I've never heard of such power. You mortals seek to dissect magic, but there's far more to it than you could ever learn." "I only wish to learn." "In good time," replies the goddess. "Trust me, this is for the sake of your quest. Give me one of your items." "No." Libra continues to plead, but you stand firm and the conversation peters out. Yeah, I don't know. Let's do another sus, just to see what the deal is. You draw your blade. The light seems to wobble, as does the sword in your hand. "Friend, what are you thinking?" "Stay back," you cry. Libra's voice does not change. "Please, be calm. I know this journey has taxed you, but it is now time to turn on your allies." You sheathe your sword. You sheathe your blade, murmuring devout apologies. "Do not worry, friend. Your mind must be clouded by deceit and fear in this dreadful place." You walk towards the door. "Where are you going?" Libra shouts up a shrill. "I cannot remain for long. If you return, I may not be here." You head towards the door, even as Libra implores you to leave, to return soon. I don't know. Should I do something there? Cast the spell. What does God do? "Are you well, Annalander?" Libra asks while you sputter in frustration. Dang. Snap. What does How do? Gather something is wrong. Libra would not have heard device bangs. I don't know. I guess I could just try to fight her, but Not sure what to do. Maybe dim? You craft the enchantment, causing Libra to babble incoherently for a moment. It cheers you a little, although surely a goddess would be immune to such magic? Yeah, I guess I can try sap. Sap. See what that does. Reaching up to the constellations above, you create the spell. The goddess seems to slump, and a moment later she is looking utterly dejected. You step over to console the goddess. She looks up sharply as though expecting an attack, and her hair slides off. It is a wig, and beneath the wig you realize stands a ratty-looking goblin. He raises his hands. This is not what it looks like. I can see that now. The goblin gulps but says nothing. Who are you? The goblin waves his arms. Do you not recognize the true form of Libra? Gaze upon the wonder of your goddess. He watches you hopefully, then shakes his head. All right then, forget it. Why did you try to trick me? Why do you think? Snaps the goblin. You run in sword waggling, and I've got a wig to defend myself with. I didn't think you'd actually believe me. You step towards the goblin, and he cringes. I see this isn't working. I ran from the other tower. The goblin holds up the wig helplessly. And don't ask me where I got this from. The goblin adjusts his wig. Look, he begins. I'm as upset about this as you are. I doubt that. The goblin blanches. Why are you doing this, you demand? I'm hiding. You charged in here and then started bowing. I just played along. Tell me what you know of this place, you demand. I know little, he says, already ducking to avoid a blow. I escaped from the tower with all the other goblins in. That's a horrible place. Don't go there. Then I made it through the other towers, the creature shudders. This place is terrible. Well, now that we bonded so well, I assume you'll be leaving? Peacefully? The goblin asks, desperation on his face. Come with me, you suggest. The goblin peers at you. You do realize I'm not your lemur god, or whatever it was. Of course I do. And I'm not going anywhere with you, the goblin replies. I'm not dragging myself after you, just so you can eat me when you first get hungry. He sits down sharply, cross-legged on the floor. You search the room but find nothing. It's truly empty. I sometimes see a rat run through, the goblin says, but nothing else. You leave the pitiful creature behind without another word. Alright, well that was fun, I guess. You hurry over another walkway, higher in the air than you had expected, towards the next tower. As the sun climbs the sky, the winds rise. As you enter the tower, 5 other figures step in from identical-looking doors placed evenly around the walls. I wish that it would track what the opposites of the spells were with the clues. I may need to write some of this shit down so I don't forget. Alright, let's see. Well, what would the opposite of 6 be? Sun. Let's just do a sus. Maybe it'll give me a hint. Well, now what the hell? Let's do a sun. Can I do a sun? Watch these. Constantly reading. No hows either. Can I do a kin? No, I don't have the freaking item. This sucks. Like, I'm so spell deficient right now is the problem. I just don't have the right items I need. And I don't know which of these... Like, that's the problem. Even if I stumble upon the right spell, I probably can't actually cast it. I could try... I've already tried Kin, but I don't have the mirror. I could try Gak, I guess. But somehow I don't think that's gonna work. Oh right, I don't have the item for that either. From the outside you saw clearly this tower only had 2 doorways, so you head directly forwards, aiming for the door on the other side. One other does the same, while 3 stay put looking this way at that. The last stranger calls out a greeting. You leave by the opposite door opposite the way you came in. The quiet strangers do not attempt to prevent you from going. You race over the next tower before the wind can pluck you from the walkway. The sun bakes the flagstones. This tower seems quiet and empty. The only curious feature is a crack that splits the floor in half. It lies between you and the door on the other side. The crack is perfectly straight and is more like a cut than a crack, though someone had split the tower in two across the middle and slid the two halves apart. You pull a coin from your pack and toss it experimentally across the chamber. Travel halfway, as far as the crack no less, and then bounces off something you cannot see. You pick it up once more. Try again, throwing it in a slightly different place along the line of the crack, but the result is the same. It seems the crack marks an invisible wall blocking your path. You step forward and feel for the wall, finding it easily enough. It runs the length of the crack, as high as you can reach, and in both directions, left and right. The tower seems decisively split in two. Feel across the wall. It is made of no material you have encountered before, neither cold nor hot to the touch. Totally solid with no give, totally smooth. It is like nothing so much as bone, but bone rendered extremely fat. Okay, so this is definitely wall. But what would the opposite of wall be? Well, let's see. Can I do a how? Yeah. Alright, cool. Will you help me out? There's only impervious to every physical assault. Yeah, I figured that as much. So I've got to find some way to magic it open. Try goblins, but I feel like gob being the opposite of wall doesn't really make sense. I don't think I have the gale horn, so I can't do a huff. Yep. Oh, jeez. We could try a gob, I guess, but I don't think that's really going to do anything. Pull out a goblin tooth from your pack and throw it on the ground, casting your spell across it. The tooth erupts into a column of smoke, and a moment later, a goblin warrior is standing in front of you. Order the goblin to assault the invisible barrier with its weapons, but nothing results apart from the tired goblin. But your creature can do no good. You wave the spell away. Yeah, I know. The problem is, Forlong, I don't remember what those opposites were. I figured if it was important, I'd have it in my clues, but apparently not, so... The problem is if I try to look those up again, I guess I could go back and try to watch the YouTube videos to see if that'll help. But, yeah, for now I'm just kind of stuck because I don't remember that stuff offhand and I didn't write it down at the time. This is the only other spell I can cast, I think. You cast a spell, but as the pebble begins to glow, something quite strange happens. The pebble disintegrates and the crack in the tower disappears. The tower suddenly looks quite whole. A counterspell then? So the magic of the barrier counters a pattern of explosion. Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to remember this stuff because I kind of have the feeling that the final battle with the Archmage is going to be a counter spell fight. So, alright, let's move on. You look across the floor for any trace of the crack, but it has disappeared entirely, leaving nothing behind. But if you're going to cross, you should do so quickly. You could turn back or cross to the far door. Step out onto the path. You see the crack shimmer back into place as you leave. You step into the tower and sense the presence of magic immediately. A moment later, you begin to feel giddy. Something is happening. You check yourself over. You appear to be fine, but the tower is not. The ceiling is bearing down on your head. The whole room is tightening up like a net. You look around the room. Aside from the two doors, one opposite the one you came in by, the room is empty, but the far door is getting smaller by the minute. There seems to be no escape. The shrinking stops just in time for you to sit still fit. There's no way you'll be able to escape through the doors. You turn your head left and right as best as you can, looking for something to aid you, but you can find nothing. Is this the inn, caught inside a tower like a wasp in a jar? Try to throw your arms wide to cast a spell, but the room has shrunk far enough that there isn't enough space to catch the starlight. You wait, hoping the effect of whatever spell has trapped you will fade, but it does not. There's only one way out of your situation. Oh, wait, shoot. Nope, I don't want to do that. Close your eyes and raise a prayer for the gorilla. but the gorilla seems unable to help you. The room does not grow back in size. You raise the blade to run yourself through, but your hand bashes into the wall of the tower. You do not have enough space to get the blade to your neck or chest. You have to drive the blade through your groin, or else you could drink poison. Oh, this is a pretty awful situation. You draw out your vial of poison and lift it to your lips. Then, with a deep breath, you knock it back. Nothing happens. The poison barely has any flavor. It is as though it has been diluted to weakness. Whatever the reason, you are still stuck here. You lower your sword, twist it, and prepare to stab, and as you pull your arm back, you manage to put your hand through one of the walls. The tiny bricks feel soft as butter. You push at the wall. It gives, bending outwards a little. The stone seems feeble. You ball your fist and swing back your arm, then punch hard at the north wall. After 3-4 hits, you have knocked a fist-sized chunk out of the doorway. Keep punching, and the doorway grows bigger and bigger. These miniaturized bricks really do seem to be quite weak. A few more blows later, you are through the wall. But looking out, you see the path in the other towers are also shrunk. Have you grown bigger? Take a moment to clear out the other wall as well. The tower is reduced to a mere arch of stone. Then you slip outside. You feel the magic on you fading as you leave the tower. Either the world expands once more, or more likely, you shrink to your normal size. Well, I hope that poison has no effect on me. Step back out into the path and make your way along it. Thin heat beats down from an empty sky. You stop by the ruined entrance of the tower to the east. Let's see. Well, let's see. Path leads along the line of the outer wall. Have I been in that middle tower? I guess I haven't. I could go check those out, I suppose. Or I could go to the south tower. Let's do the east pass first, I suppose. The more I learn about these spells, the better, I think. Stand outside another tower, past thinking this way, and then you're pressing down with sadness. It's not a place to stand still. Time to begin to learn. You can see. Okay, it's a large table surrounded by several chairs. You approach the table only to pause as you notice a creature sitting so still you had not previously spotted them. They are fiddling with an assortment of tools and murmuring quietly. Moreover, the creature has 2 heads. You stride over to the creature, offering a greeting. The creature's right head bobs in reply, while the left breaks into a disturbingly wide smile. Welcome, the left head says. You've come at just the right time. I were disagreeing about the nature of universals, weren't I? Universals? The left head nods while the right head shakes his head vigorously. No, the right head snaps. I mean particulars. There are no universals besides extension. I said universals because that's what I'm disagreeing about, the left responds. Is extension not a substance? Rather than a universal, you ask? The right goes. Well, you see, one must not get bogged down in semantics. Ha! He certainly shut me up, the left head crows. He has not, the right head whines. Ignore me, the left hand says. Please sit down. It's been so long since I had another mind to converse with. You go to take a seat at the table, but something odd catches the corner of your eyes, and you look over your shoulder. The door you came in by has vanished. The creature watches patiently, oblivious to any change. Where is the door? Door is a meaningless concept absent of a room, the right head says. So my question is nonsensical. No, that is wrong. The presence of a door creates a room. Otherwise, it would just be a box, the left head replies. I'm an idiot, the right retorts. If that were true, gated fields would be rooms. In the middle of the table is a candle of blood-red wax. See, the problem with this one is I don't even know what the hell spell is even going on here. Let's do a sus just to get a lay of the land here. I've been really over relying on this spell. Look at the stars you crest the words until enchantment gets out. You take a seat at the table and open your mouth, but are interrupted before you can speak. Finally, someone willing to be educated, the left head says, banging his fist on the table and making a pile of tools jump. Was that comment about me, the right retorts. What are you? How insulting. I are a scholar. But you have 2 heads. A triviality. The real question is, how many minds? Fool, dolt, moron, the right head shouts. Minds are immaterial, and so cannot be counted. What can you tell me about the college, you demand? For a place of learning, most has been forgotten, one head remarks. But if forgotten, does it still exist? The other replies. It seems likely, the first replies as though bored. The sands of death have run here, unseen, for thousands of years. But they are not forgotten, the other returns triumphantly, as you have just proved. Do you have any advice? Stick to the classics. Do not waste time with the newer treatises until you have a solid grasp of the foundational theory, the left head says. I am a fool, the right responds. The scrovely traveler is no student of mine. I should tell him something truly useful. What is true use? Provide us such as. Such as the importance of always wearing dry socks to prevent mildew between the toes. Was that an instructive? The right head says, beaming. Oh geez, it's hard to kind of keep track of whose voice is whose here, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. Attempt to speak further with the creature, but is too busy arguing with itself. You pick up the blood candle. The creature nods in passing. That was useful in previous discussion, observes. I were questioning if an inanimate object could be inherently evil. You cast your eyes over the table. Tools are scattered across it. Ah, says the left head, catching your eyes. That was a fascinating topic. I disagreed about the tool's relationship to its worker. Someone builds a chair. How much responsibility does the hammer have? But where do the tools come from? I do not understand, the right says. I needed them for an example in my argument, the left says, so they are here. You go over to the walls and run your hands across them, but they are solid, unbroken stone. There is no trace of a door, not a single seam or a new piece of mortar. It is as if the door never existed. Consider a door, you begin, initiating a debate about the distinction between entering and leaving. The door is surely two-sided, but quite symmetrical, so entering and leaving are purely in the eye of the observer. But who is that? The left head peers at you. Why, are they, you mean? That is a good point, isn't it? It seems unsure. The right head frowns. Every door is built, it replies thoughtfully. Surely the building of a door constitutes an initial placement observation. But can one build an empty doorway? If it can be conceived, it can be built, the right head says quickly. But we conceive of much as negative space and must build a container, replies the left. In the case of a doorway... What do you think, you ask, at neither of them in particular. The issues of the doors is a special case, the left head says, of the wider use of the movement of the point of observation and the principle of consistency. You sneak a glimpse over your shoulder. The dim outline of a door has formed either side of the room. You let them continue to argue, and the doors and the walls grow solid and firm. Then you race for the exit, leaving the heads of the creature too busy arguing to notice. Well, I guess I did find one clue in all that nonsense. Sands of death flow in the inner college. Okay, well, that's good to know, I guess. Alright, let's see what's in these towers. You move along the next walkway to the tower beyond. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. The silence between the towers comes as a blessed relief. You venture into a room as black as a coal mine. There is no light at all. Even the sunshine at your back does not reach inside this place. As you step into the room, the door behind you slams shut. You are now in total darkness. You light the blood candle. Its light has a reddish tinge which makes seeing difficult, but you catch a glimpse of metal on the floor. A trap? You walk closer and realize they are spikes. You skirt around them, only to cut your arm on a spike jutting from the wall. This place is dangerous indeed. The darkness recedes a little. Is the candle getting brighter? You pause, considering your next move. The cut on your arm is small, but bleeds freely. A trickle of blood runs down your hand and touches the candle, which brightens. How could that be? You walk forward, carefully avoiding the spikes, but when you wince, you cut yourself on a bladed bar set at an ankle height. The candle flame leads higher. You come across a section bristling with jagged metal. With no way around, you will have to pick your way through. You decide to stick closer to the wall. The floor is less cluttered with metal, but you have to worry about the danger from the side now, too. Turning sideways, you manage to squeeze past a few jagged spikes jutting from the wall without stepping on anything, but scrape yourself in the process. The blood candle is growing ever brighter. Strange wax must be really taking hold now. You come across a wall of knee-high spikes clustered together. You will have to step over. Not trusting the appetite of the candle, you snuff it out and are plunged back into darkness. Your imagination begins to race. What might be waiting in the darkness? The door behind you is roughly to the south. You fix the direction of it in your mind, determined not to become turned around in the darkness. Okay, well I think I can actually do this now, right? Don't I have the jewel, maybe? Oh, balls! Oh, I'm so tired of not having the right spell. Also, I'm probably about to die, so that's, like, not good. Sus. Through the starlight, it seems you have and must rely on your own wits. Oh shit. Alright, well, let's see. What can I do here? Fog, maybe? Sun. I can't do the sun. I feel like the sun spell's really what I need to do here, but... What does Mage do? Oh wait, no, I'm dead. You begin to weave the spell, the force of it binds within you, and only then do you realize awful truth. You are too weak to control it. Magical forces tear through your body, stripping it of all energy and all life, till you are nothing but a discarded husk. You have been consumed by magic. Once again, death grasps you in its icy hands, only to lift you up impossibly high. See, that's the thing though, Forlong. I actually intentionally didn't want to cheat, because I'd almost rather... Or sorry, I didn't want to eat, because I'd almost rather die and reset with full food, than to use up all my food if I was going to die in there anyway. Alright, well, I cast another Zed, and so I've died again. Oh, jeez. Check myself over. Especially on an empty stomach. The alley isn't a bad place to rest. You have eaten nothing today. You feel like dream. The night is kept busy with you, and all the while you hear distant laughter from the east. Alright, well, I think that's probably a good point to stop. I did better, I guess, than I did last time, but still not great. That college really messed me up. I got through most of it, though, and I've learned a few counter spells. I'll have to go back and watch the video, but I think my better bet might be to go to the second college this time, I guess. Problem is I need to learn the counter spells to get through the door. It's really my only chance, so I think I'm stuck doing the college for a little while, at least until I can figure out how to get past the doors. But yeah, alright, well, I guess that's it for now. Didn't quite go as good as I had hoped, but at least I am a little bit wiser, hopefully, than when I started. So, thanks for watching me, and if you like this episode, feel free to like and subscribe and do all that other stuff so I can actually, maybe have a good reason to keep making these. And if you did like it, I'll be playing again next Monday at 6 o'clock Central. So until then, have a good night.